The USS Star Destroyer stood as a beacon of human ingenuity and technological prowess. Equipped with the most advanced technology ever developed, it was the pinnacle of human engineering. The ship boasted state-of-the-art weaponry, sophisticated defense systems, and unparalleled speed. At the heart of its arsenal was a revolutionary EMP-like pulse weapon capable of disabling enemy ships and defenses within a vast radius. This pulse weapon was effective due to the ship's unique shielding technology, which allowed it to remain operational, while the pulse rendered all other electronics useless. The crew, an elite group of highly trained specialists, included Captain Jane Carter, a strategic genius, Lieutenant Mark Davis, an expert in alien technology, and Chief Engineer Sarah Lee, the brains behind the pulse weapon. The Galactic War, raging for 800,000 years, had origins lost to time. Ancient rivalries and territorial disputes had ignited a conflict that spread across the galaxy. Multiple factions, each with their own cultures and technologies, had been embroiled in a seemingly endless cycle of destruction. The war had taken an immense toll, decimating civilizations and depleting resources. Entire planets had been laid to waste, and the galaxy's environment had been scarred by the constant warfare. Despite numerous attempts at peace, the factions remained locked in a stalemate, each two entrenched in their positions to concede. The desperation for a resolution grew with each passing year, as the galaxy teetered on the brink of collapse. In this dire context, the Galactic Council made a desperate plea to humanity, known for its innovative solutions and formidable warships. The Council requested the deployment of the USS Star Destroyer, hoping its advanced technology could tip the scales and finally bring an end to the conflict. The decision-making process within human leadership was swift yet thorough. Understanding the gravity of the situation, they agreed to send the Star Destroyer. Preparations for deployment were meticulous, ensuring that the ship and its crew were ready for the monumental task ahead. As news of the Star Destroyer's impending arrival spread, reactions among the galactic factions were mixed. Skepticism abounded, with many doubting that a single ship, even one as advanced as the Star Destroyer, could make a significant difference. However, there was also a glimmer of hope, a belief that perhaps this new element could break the deadlock and pave the way for peace. The USS Star Destroyer's journey to the heart of the conflict zone was both tense and exhilarating. As it traversed the vast expanse of space, the crew remained focused on their mission. They navigated through asteroid fields and bypassed war-torn planets, each step bringing them closer to the epicenter of the galactic war. The ship's advanced navigation systems and top-tier crew ensured a smooth passage, despite the numerous hazards along the way. Upon reaching the conflict zone, the Star Destroyer was met by Allied fleets from various factions. The reactions were mixed. Some allies greeted the ship with hope, believing in the potential of its advanced technology, while others viewed it with skepticism, doubting that a single vessel could turn the tide of an 800,000-year war. Strategic planning sessions commenced immediately. Captain Carter and her team worked tirelessly to position the Star Destroyer optimally for the deployment of the EMP pulse weapon. They analyzed enemy formations, identified key targets, and coordinated with Allied commanders to ensure maximum impact. The crew's resolve was unshakable. They knew the stakes and were prepared to execute their mission with precision. The Star Destroyer took its position, ready to unleash its revolutionary technology. Despite the meticulous planning, doubts persisted among the Allied commanders. Many questioned the effectiveness of the EMP pulse weapon, fearing it was an overhyped solution that could fail when needed most. These concerns were voiced in tense strategy meetings, with commanders debating the risks and potential outcomes. However, Captain Carter and her crew remained confident. They had tested the technology extensively and trusted in its capability to neutralize enemy forces. Their unwavering confidence began to assuage some of the doubts, instilling a cautious optimism among the Allies. As the Star Destroyer neared the enemy fleet, it encountered sporadic skirmishes. Enemy scouts tested the ship's defenses, probing for weaknesses. Each encounter was a testament to the Star Destroyer's advanced shielding and weapon systems, as it repelled the attacks with ease. These brief but intense clashes showcased the ship's strength and boosted the crew's morale. The resolve of the crew, coupled with the ship's superior technology, reassured the Allied fleets that they had a fighting chance. Tension mounted as the Star Destroyer approached the heart of the enemy fleet. The enemy, aware of the ship's arrival and its feared capabilities, began to prepare for the impending confrontation. They fortified their positions, activated their defenses, and readied their own formidable arsenal. The Star Destroyer's sensors detected increased activity and heightened alertness among the enemy ranks. The air was thick with anticipation, each side poised for the decisive moment. Within the Star Destroyer, the crew made final preparations. The EMP pulse weapon was primed and ready, its targeting systems locked onto the enemy fleet. Communication channels buzzed with last-minute coordination, ensuring that all elements of the plan were in place. Captain Carter addressed her crew, emphasizing the importance of their mission and the critical nature of their timing. Every second counted, and they had only one chance to execute their strategy flawlessly. The final moments before the deployment of the EMP pulse were a study in controlled tension. The crew, though anxious, remained focused on their tasks. They monitored enemy movements, adjusted their positions, and ran through their protocols with precision. The enemy fleet loomed large on their screens, a formidable force that had been at war for millennia. The significance of the moment was not lost on anyone aboard the Star Destroyer. They were about to make history. As the countdown began, the crew braced themselves. The tension was palpable, each second ticking by with agonizing slowness. The enemy fleet, fully aware of the Star Destroyer's presence, intensified their preparations, anticipating a fierce battle. The Allied fleets, watching from a distance, held their breath, their hopes pinned on the success of the Star Destroyer's bold gambit. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine the fate of the galaxy. The USS Star Destroyer moved with calculated precision towards the heart of the enemy armada. Its sleek, imposing form cut through the darkness of space, a silent harbinger of technological might. The crew remained in constant communication with Allied forces, each message underscoring the critical importance of timing. Every maneuver was coordinated to ensure the EMP pulse would have maximum impact. As the ship closed in, tension mounted aboard the bridge. The crew worked with unwavering focus, finalizing preparations and double-checking systems. The EMP pulse weapon, a marvel of advanced engineering, was primed and ready. All eyes were on the enemy fleet, now looming large on their screens. The moment arrived. With a sense of calm urgency, Captain Carter gave the command to deploy the EMP pulse. The weapon's activation was executed with flawless precision. The Star Destroyer's advanced targeting systems locked onto the enemy vessels, and the pulse was released. A wave of energy surged forth, invisible but overwhelmingly powerful. Within moments, the effects became evident. Enemy ships, once bristling with activity, went dark. Engines stalled, weapons systems shut down, and communication arrays fell silent. The once formidable armada was rendered helpless in an instant. The crew watched in awe as the pulse rippled through the fleet, its power undeniable. Allies and enemies alike were stunned by the sheer effectiveness of the Star Destroyer's secret weapon. As the EMP pulse spread, the enemy fleet descended into chaos. Ships drifted aimlessly, their systems offline and crews in disarray. The carefully coordinated formations of the enemy armada disintegrated. Panic set in among the enemy ranks as they realized the full extent of their predicament. Communications from enemy commanders, once confident and defiant, now carried tones of desperation and confusion. The Allied forces, witnessing the unprecedented event, responded with a mixture of relief and exhilaration. The tables had turned dramatically, and the enemy's overwhelming advantage was neutralized. In the immediate aftermath, the enemy fleet began to surrender. One by one, enemy commanders conceded defeat, their once powerful warships now powerless husks. Messages of capitulation flooded in, each one a testament to the EMP pulse's devastating efficacy. The Galactic community, both allies and neutral parties, watched in shock and awe as news of the Star Destroyer's triumph spread. The realization that a single ship had ended an 800,000-year war in a matter of minutes was nothing short of staggering. The Star Destroyer's crew, though weary from the intense operation, felt a profound sense of accomplishment. They had not only proven the effectiveness of their technology but had also altered the course of galactic history. The enemy forces, their ships disabled and defenses collapsed, formally surrendered to the Allied commanders. A ceasefire was declared, marking the end of hostilities that had plagued the galaxy for 800,000 years. The Galactic Council swiftly moved to facilitate peace talks, recognizing the fragile nature of this new truce. The USS Star Destroyer and its crew played a crucial role in maintaining order and security during this delicate transition period. Their presence deterred any attempts at renewed aggression and provided a stabilizing force as factions began the arduous process of reconciliation. Negotiations between the warring factions commenced under the watchful eyes of the Galactic Council. The initial discussions focused on addressing long-standing grievances and establishing a framework for rebuilding trust. Compromises were made, and mutual concessions highlighted the commitment to a lasting peace. The human delegation, leveraging their recent triumph and technological superiority, played a pivotal role in these talks. Their diplomatic efforts were instrumental in bridging gaps and fostering an environment conducive to productive dialogue. Key issues such as territorial disputes, resource allocation, and reparations were tackled with a forward-looking approach, emphasizing cooperation and shared prosperity. The crew of the USS Star Destroyer received widespread recognition for their extraordinary achievement. Public ceremonies were held across the galaxy, celebrating their bravery and ingenuity. Key crew members, including Captain Jane Carter, Lieutenant Mark Davis, and Chief Engineer Sarah Lee, were awarded personal accolades and medals of honor. The media coverage was extensive, with stories of the Star Destroyer's decisive intervention dominating headlines. Public reactions were overwhelmingly positive, with citizens from countless worlds expressing their gratitude and admiration. The crew's actions had not only ended a seemingly eternal war, but had also inspired hope for a peaceful and united future. Their legacy was cemented as heroes who had changed the course of history through courage, innovation, and an unwavering commitment to peace. The crew of the USS Star Destroyer and galactic leaders took time to reflect on the swift end to the war. The abrupt cessation of hostilities brought a mix of relief and contemplation. The crew felt a deep sense of accomplishment, knowing their mission had prevented further bloodshed. Galactic leaders, meanwhile, engaged in discussions about the ethical implications of deploying such a powerful technology. While the EMP pulse weapon had proven effective, its potential for misuse was a serious concern. The war's resolution underscored the importance of understanding and cooperation. It highlighted how shared goals and collaborative efforts could achieve what millennia of conflict could not. The galaxy had learned that unity, rather than division, was the path to enduring peace. In the wake of the war, steps were taken to secure and control the use of EMP technology. Protocols were established to ensure it would be used responsibly and only as a last resort. These measures included stringent oversight and the formation of a multi-species council to monitor its deployment. Former enemies collaborated on enhancing galactic security, recognizing that their newfound peace was fragile and needed protection. Joint training exercises and shared intelligence initiatives became common, fostering a sense of camaraderie among previously hostile factions. The development of these protocols aimed to prevent future conflicts of similar scale, ensuring that the lessons learned from the war would not be forgotten. Strengthening community bonds became a priority. Initiatives were launched to foster closer relationships and mutual respect among the galaxy's inhabitants. Cultural exchange programs allowed different species to learn from one another, breaking down barriers and building understanding. Collaborative projects for peace and development were initiated, focusing on rebuilding war-torn regions and promoting economic stability. The USS Star Destroyer and its crew played an ongoing role in these efforts, acting as ambassadors of peace and symbols of what could be achieved through unity. Their presence at cultural and diplomatic events continued to inspire hope and cooperation. Looking to the future, there was a pervasive sense of optimism for a peaceful and united galaxy. The potential for new challenges was acknowledged, but there was also a readiness to face them together. The enduring legacy of the USS Star Destroyer as a symbol of hope and technological innovation provided a foundation for this optimism. The galaxy had been forever changed, not just by the end of an ancient war, but by the newfound commitment to a shared future. As different worlds looked ahead, they did so with the confidence that together, they could overcome any obstacle and build a lasting peace.